Howdy folks, and welcome back to another exciting video with my 1971 Plymouth Roadrunner. Now this car has been off the road since 1989. If you do your math right, that is 35 years this car has been parked. Now I bought this thing in the last video from an auction. We got it home, we checked it over, saw everything that it had, and it was really a very complete car. And we got it to run. It was a kind of a hard fought battle, but it did in fact run. It got quieter. We got it cleaned up, got everything looking nice. The paint was really shiny. We still need to go through a lot of that stuff, but today's focus is getting it on the road. That means we've got to see if the transmission works. We've got to see if the brakes can go anywhere. We've got to make sure we have a good fuel system, a carburetor, timing. We got to do all these things today because I want this car to be on the road, running, driving, and stopping for the first time in 35 years. So if you want to see that too, make sure you stick around at the end of the video. And while you're at it, go ahead and go down to the link in the description below, pick you up a brand new McCool Auto sticker, because all the money for that goes directly back into cars like this. Let's get into it. Before we start, the goal was to put the car onto the lift, but it wouldn't move, and the transmission had basically zero fluid. So we added 3 quarts before it finally started to move under its own power. There we go. A little choke maybe? Yeah. The fuel pump's on right now. It's running without dying. I think it smoothed out a little bit, don't you? Oh, I lied. The fuel pump wasn't on. Yep. Right on cue. I'm going to let it sit neutral for a little bit, just to kind of work any fluid that it does have. No, 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 no. Realistically, it needs to be warm for us to check the transmission fluid, but we're just going to go ahead and try and do what we can with what we have the ability to do, and that's not much. Our fan still doesn't work. We don't have any coolant in the engine. No nothing. Oh. That was violent. I don't know what happened, but it's on here. That was scary. I think the throttle hung a little bit, but it's okay. Let it run out of fuel. Yeah. Pedal's a little sticky, but oh well. Hey, look at there. It's on the lift. Who would have thought?
It hadn't run this long the whole time.
No, it has not. Yeah, finally, once we get it up here, it's like, yeah, I think I'll run. I think it's kind of getting a little bit better. You imagine a good set of plugs in this thing?
Oh my God.
It would actually run pretty decent, I think. That might be your job, because I don't really want to do it.
No! That's very hot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can wait. I'll let you wait till it cools off. Only a little bit though.
5 minutes?
5 minutes, yeah.
What's the deal?
I don't know. It's mad. It's self-healing right now. It's trying to show us who's boss, you know? Like, you're not in charge of me, I do what I want, kind of thing. I understand it. I get it. We go through our phases.
This is crazy.
That's annoying is what it is. What's your deal, dude? The best you've ran ever since we've had it running. Oh, the brake lights are on. Very shaky. Nice. It's slowly smoothing out.
Oh my god. Now it's picking up.
It runs great now.
It's running on air.
Any moment now. Any moment. It's like an old hit and miss tractor. It's just running on like one cylinder.
4 RPM.
Yeah. It has never been able to run this long. I don't understand.
Gas has been off for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, we have not had the gas on whatsoever. And it's still just doing it. Come on. I want it to run out so I can rebuild the carb. Oh my gosh. There you go.
Smokes.
That was a world record right there. My goodness. My biggest question was finding out how original the engine and transmission were. And thankfully, Chrysler made it very easy to find casting numbers and build dates. That tells me nothing. We can at least run that part number there to see if it's for the right year. Oh yeah, there it is. That number I just found was the sequence number for the VIN. I checked that to the one on the door, and sure enough, this is the original 383 HP engine that this car left the factory with way back in 1970. But what about the transmission? It's like excavation over here. I feel like we found, oh my gosh. I'm sorry guys, all that's in y'all's eyes right now. A little bit of the good stuff. Why is it in a different digit? What does that mean? I don't know if that's supposed to be the sequence number, because if it is, it's different. So it makes me think the transmission's been replaced. And just for fun, we checked under the back seat for the original broadcast sheet. Unfortunately, that has been removed a long time ago. Step 1, get these wheels off. Gotta check out our drums. There's the big boy drums. Oh! Holy moly! They look brand new. Yeah, it looks like they rebuilt them and then just never adjusted them out. That is a brand new shoe on both sides. Very, very little wear on the drum itself. Wow, that looks fantastic. That is exactly what, well, there's no brake adjuster. The cable broke. So we'll need a new adjuster cable, but that's probably, maybe that's why it didn't work. It wore enough to where it just never adjusted out anymore. Check that out, folks. We got some really good material on here. Since all this looks so good, we'll just change the hydraulic pieces, like the wheel cylinders, the brake hoses. Hopefully our brake lines are good. I don't see anything leaking yet, which it doesn't have any fluid yet, but let's go check out Briar's side. Oh wow, same story. Very good material left. Looks like it was rebuilt and then never driven. I mean, maybe a very short distance. This side has the brake adjuster still on it, so that's good. Over here, same thing with the drums. Very clean. Oh. Ugh. That one had a leaky cylinder there. Yeah. A lot of material left though, but that one was leaking. Well, I've pulled this drum off and some animal life has weaseled its way up in here. You know what? I don't know if I want to touch that, but that's a lot. At least the drums still look great. That's the one little thing. We may just go ahead and they probably replaced the fronts and then didn't do the rears. So we're probably just gonna put some new shoes on it while we're here. I don't think there's much in this tank. Well, I don't know, it's leaking something, but we're gonna punch a hole and see if we can drain it out before we attempt to remove it. Oh, ew, it's purple. Wow. That smells great. There's more in there than I thought there would be. It quit leaking, but it's got a lot in there left. Ooh, that is nasty. That's straight tar. There is no gasoline left. Well, we came to the conclusion that underneath the car is actually extremely solid. All we're gonna do is just put some rust stop paint on it because we don't want it to get anywhere. We're just gonna go ahead and clean all this because I wanna paint it and make it look good, but it's very dusty. And the plan is to go all the way up to the front, pressure wash everything, because it doesn't look like there's any undercoating on here except maybe in the wheel wells. That could just be dirt buildup, honestly. I don't think there's any undercoating, so it's just pretty rusty. So, and again, it's all surface rust, but if we go through and clean it and put some really good rust stop paint on it and then paint over that, this thing will look brand new underneath and we won't have any problems for it in the future. So that's it's gonna get messy here in a minute. I'm gonna put some safety glasses on and try not to get too wet. Here we go. Here's the good news. Everything is very solid under here. We just have some light surface rust, nothing that we can't take care of. As you can see, you know, we just had some dirt on top of that. And if you really want some rust paint to stick, you got to knock the loose stuff off first. So pressure washing did all that. It got where that wheel cylinder over there was leaking, but you can see some of the factory undercoating on this side. It's not perfectly clean. I might go back here and do it again, but there's some factory paint right there. It's pretty cool. I don't think the rest of the car was undercoated. I think it was just the wheel wells from what I can tell. Yeah, you can see a stop line right there, and all this is just factory stuff. So I want to preserve that best I can because it still looks fantastic under here. So in order to make all this work after doing the rust prevention coating, there are some places that I could not get to. So we did the Rust-Oleum Rust Reformer in some of those really tight spaces. That'll make it to where it converts that rust and it makes it where it's paintable. Then we used Rust-Oleum Truck Bed Coating. That stuff is great. I've used it on a ton of different projects before and it's always held up to the test of time. So now you can see there's the finished product. And I gotta say that looks really good. Now of course the exhaust, we didn't touch it because it's, well, don't want to be causing a fire. The shocks probably gonna have to be replaced, so we didn't touch those. But everywhere else looks fantastic. I think my favorite part is right up in here in these wheel wells, how good that looks. That looks so clean, especially from the outside. When we get wheels and tires put on here, that's gonna look so clean. Minus a couple small spots we need to touch up. That looks way better, and it'll keep it from rusting. I know it's not what the car had from the factory, but it just looks better and it'll keep it from getting any worse, especially when the car isn't rusty to begin with. You want to make sure it stays like that for another 50 years. Here's a new fuel tank. We have this all ready to go. It's got a new sending unit in. The filler neck grommet is installed, and you can see here I had to add 4 vent hoses. These things are crazy. You Get 2 1/4 inch and then 2 3/8 on this thing. Oh, yeah. Get that started. Hey, that was not bad.
We've got just a cool tool.
Oh, wow. There it is. Gas tank is in. The rusty exhaust and rusty shocks really kind of throw it off now. Now it is time for us to move over to the brakes. Now you remember this side, we had a wheel cylinder basically blow on it. I pressure washed it when I did the rest of the car, and we soaked all the parts in gas for a couple days. There you have it for the brakes. We replaced just the wheel cylinders on the front. Everything's ready to go. And while we were goofing around with the drums, Briar took the initiative here and painted everything with some rust stop paint inside the wheel wells. You notice that we didn't do any of the suspension just because not sure if we're going to have to pull any upper control arm bushings or ball joints. If it does turn out to be good, we'll clean it up and then paint that when we get to that point. Definitely know we're going to need some sway bar bushings, and I don't know, ball joints might be a problem. They don't seem loose, but you never know these days. Here are the original drums to the car, and Briar actually went and resurfaced these for us. So we've got everything ready to go except for the outside. As you can see, they're original. The way we know that is because, well, there's red paint still on the drum face. What they would do with rally wheels and magnum wheels, the fancy wheels basically, they would take new drums and paint just the face surface, nothing else on it. You could even see how quickly they did this because there's runs where they would spray it and then runs would just kind of run down the front of the drum. It's pretty funny. But then we have a little hint of red here. You can really see the red here. We've got all new resurfaced drums on the inside, still had a lot of material left in it, and they're original, so it's kind of cool to at least have all that. But they're going to look red here in just a minute, but it's going to be a lot of cleaning. There we go. So now after you see all this cleaning done, you can really get an idea of where the red was. They really didn't paint anything over on this side, and it's funny, from the factory I was reading some articles where it said that people on the assembly line, they would paint it and then the paint would still be wet. They would just roll it on, and look, you can see runs from the factory. They would just slather it on there, and then when they put the wheels on, later on people would take the wheels off and there'd be red paint on the back side of the wheel where it mounts to. So to make this work, we're going to be using Rust-Oleum Rust Reformer. Do a little satin black on top of that. And then we have Poppy's Patina Caliper Coat in red. It comes with that and the catalyst. This stuff is serious. It'll be a beautiful bright red, and we're gonna do it exactly like the factory did it. Let me show you. And there you have it. And again, we did this like the factory did it, which is kind of messy, kind of sloppy. but really just doing the red surface on the front. I wish I had some cast iron paint that we could have done the rest of the drums with, but it'll look really good, and I think it'll hold the test of time, especially with that Poppy's patina, how bright that is, and it's like a gloss finish. So we're really gonna let all this dry really nicely, and then we will put it on the car with our new wheels that you haven't seen yet. You're gonna love that when it gets down at that time. There it is, the drum is on, and you can see I wasn't even authentic and spilt some paint in the middle of it, but it looks good. The Poppy's patina caliper and drum paint hardens up, and it makes like a really nice smooth surface. So all this is slick and it's glossy. Well, you know, you can kind of hear a little bit of texture right there. This side's nice and glossy, so it looks good, and that'll shine behind the wheel, and that's the whole purpose of doing this. So Poppy's patina makes some really awesome paint products. You need to check them out.
Welcome to Back Under the Hood with Ryer. Right now I'm pulling spark plugs, and is this number one? Yes, number one. It's trash. Looks like it's, you know, old and dirty. But to fix that, we're putting some brand new champions in here, which will obviously run better, I hope.
I got tired of jumping the starter relay, so I dove in under the dash to figure out what was going on with our ignition switch. I bumped a wad of wires leading to the aftermarket radio, and this caused the dome light to start working. And when I did that, the ignition switch started to work as well. I guess that's our new indicator light. As long as the dome light works, so does my key. If not, just wiggle some wires. So maybe we do have oil pressure, I don't know. It did move up a little bit. The alternator is ready to explode. No temperature because there's no coolant. Let's see if it drops back down when I turn it off. Yeah, it's slowly dropping back down, so we at least have a good oil pressure gauge, or it's showing oil pressure. I don't know if it's actually working. And when oh look, it's almost back down to the bottom. If I crank it, oh, never mind, just kidding. Not gonna crank it. This Holley carburetor, it's down on its luck, so it's coming with me for a rebuild. Here's our carburetor, and it looks pretty good. I mean, it did run, but the main problem that I see with it is, one, the accelerator pump does not move at all. This lever is completely gummed up. We've got a lot of just grime on the outside, so you really can't rev it. It doesn't really like to function as a carburetor. The choke does work. Seems like some of the linkage had fallen off on it, but it does have a heat riser that goes in the intake, and it's supposed to have a lever that will actually actuate this right there, and that had fallen off, so the choke didn't want to work anymore. So we're going to go through this and just re-gasket it, clean it the best we can, make sure this needle and seat's good, replace it. I'm sure the accelerator pump diaphragm is shot as well, so a lot of things that we need to fix on this thing, but we're going to take our time and make it much better. So the carburetor is not as bad as I had anticipated. I mean, it does have some crud and a little bit of buildup. The biggest issue that I saw was here. So that is the primary needle and seat. And whenever I would try to pick the float up, this would it wouldn't move. It wouldn't shut all the way, which I've gotten it to free up since then. But what we're gonna try and do is clean it up the best we can. And the secondary throttle blades, primaries are okay, secondaries were a little bit crunchy, but I think once we get it all, you know, cleaned and brushed up, it'll look better. Front float bowl right there, it's just got some sediment really not as bad as you would expect. I mean, for something sitting this long, which it probably didn't have gas in the bowls for the longest time. So I think we can really take our time and clean all that. And the secondaries looks the same, actually a little bit better. The metering block, again, it did have some buildup in it. Not a whole lot, just totally easily to clean, you know, just nothing bad. Our accelerator pump diaphragm was actually not ripped. I ripped it taking it out, but it did move. It was just really gummed up on the lever. That was the problem. So it's not nearly as bad as you would expect, but we're gonna go ahead and try and clean it the best we can, put it back together, and then put it back on the car. I think that's gonna be well worth our time. That's it, folks. All we really did was just have to change some gaskets. The needle and seats were the sticky parts, and they're fixed. So hopefully this thing will actually run better, and it won't pour gas out of this vent. That's the main thing we have an issue with, is that it was overpowering because it could not have the floats shut itself off. But now that it does that, maybe it'll be a good thing. I don't know. We'll see. We're going to bolt this thing on. It's not perfect. It's cleaner than it was. It's definitely not, you know, 3 different shades of brown and black, but it is actually a carburetor once again. And heck, the fact that it was running before tells me a whole lot about this thing. There's a fancy, shiny new carburetor on a really crunchy looking engine, but it's better. And that's what we're striving for, folks. Better. Unfortunately, the original carburetor, it got worse. I don't know what I did wrong, but something in the front bowl, the accelerator pump diaphragm, or the crossover fuel line has a major leak. I've got to take it back apart to fix it, but for the sake of this video, I have a backup plan so we can go for a drive. Well, we had some troubles. I don't know what happened, but the old Holly just started pouring gas as soon as I put fuel to it out of the front bowl somewhere. I tightened up the screws and it didn't fix it, so just to make it run, just to see if we can get it to idle better, I put my tried and true Demon carburetor on it. We'll see if that fixes anything. Just get the tuning sorted out, and then I've really got to figure out what's wrong with that Holly, because I'd like to use the original carburetor, but it was not happy. So this ought to fix it, I hope, because we know this one's a good one. Let's fire it up and see if it idles any better. Let me hook up that one yellow wire again, and we'll see if it'll crank. What was that?
I have no idea.
From where?
Like from under the carburetor.
From under it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you know what it was? I forgot to put the cover back on the heat riser.
Oh, God.
So exhaust is coming out from the intake.
Gave me a heart attack.
Sorry. Yeah, that's just recirculated exhaust. I need to bolt that back down. Sorry. I forgot. We had to pull the heat riser for the choke off because it was hitting the new Demon, and I forgot to bolt down the little cover to keep it from leaking exhaust everywhere, but now it should be okay. It might need a little more timing. Still doesn't run very good, does it? Oh, why is there smoke rolling out from, where's that coming from? Let me loosen up the distributor and see if I can maybe mess with the timing a little bit. All right, try it now. Okay. Oh yeah, much better now. Maybe needs a little bit more. Try it now. Okay. I think we're about to run out of gas. Yeah, the vacuum leak. A pretty serious one. Something we didn't talk about yet was these new wheels and tires. So these are 15-inch rally wheels. These are what the stock style wheel should be. So in the back, we got some big old beefy tires. These are 275/60 15s. And I think these are what, 235/60 15s in the front. So it has a nice little raked look, but this is the original factory look this car should have. And you can see, once we got our drums on there, that was the whole purpose. It might be hard to tell, but they're supposed to be red shining through there. When we back it out, you'll be really able to tell. But that changed the entire look of the car and made it look that much better. This thing looks so good. Getting rid of those little dinky tires, look at that. Big old beefy tires. I can't wait to get this thing on the road. So what we've done, we have filled it up with gas, put fuel in the tank. We have our fuel lines hooked up. We're hoping that our fuel pump will work. If not, I've got an extra one. But what we have done up under the hood was run in a fuel line with a new fuel filter. So we're gonna crank it over, see if it'll fill that up and run on its own fuel supply. Yeah. Oh, a little smoky out the back, it's fine. Oh, it's filling it up. Yeah, look at there. Little dirty, we could change that filter though, but it's got fuel. It is running on its own fuel supply. Whoop. Kill it, kill it. We're spraying gas like crazy. Look at all this gas, it just shot everywhere. Huh, yeah, it was spewing out gas. Oh, it's on this side. It's right there. Yeah, on the fuel line. Somebody made this fuel line and they didn't flare it properly, and we just clamped it down, but it's got a leak right down there. So let's try and tighten that up and we'll be back. Well, here we go. Crank this car up and back it off the lift. I got remote mirrors. Why do they work? It's cool. We bled the brakes. Put it down in neutral, let it kind of circulate the pump a little bit. I don't know if the alternator's doing anything. We do have oil pressure though. All right, backwards. Oh, into gear. It's still running a little rough. We might have a plug that's fouled or something. The timing could be a little bit wonky. Brakes? Oh yeah, the brakes work great. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're good on brakes. I plan on getting the original Holly back on there and making it run really nice, but right now, just working with what we have. Panic stop. Oh, knocked you guys over. Perfect. We're gonna backer it out and we're gonna put coolant in it. We're just gonna put straight water in it for now in case we have any leaks. That way if it does leak onto the ground, it doesn't matter. Oh yes. We are outside. It doesn't like to run. But that was the first time this car has moved under its own power in 35 years. This thing's been sitting since 1989, and I gotta say, this thing looks good. Those wheels and tires absolutely make this car, in my opinion. That looks good, don't it, Briar? Very good. Very, very good. So we're gonna fill it up with some water, like I was saying. I wanted to back it out so we didn't make a mess in the shop if there's any leaks. Oh, it's under pressure.
Really?
It was under pressure. So there's some coolant in, yeah, look. Well, you probably can't see it, but there's a little bit of green in there. So that might mean that the radiator might survive. It built up just that short little drive. It was enough pressure on the cap. So like I said, I want to just run straight water for right now, but that's really good. We were kind of concerned about the radiator because there's a lot of soldering done on these tanks. Somebody's been inside it and messing with it, so maybe that means it won't leak. I don't know. Well, we'll find out here in a minute. Oh, wow. That didn't take a lot of water. It's full. Dang. Well, crank it up, Briar. Let's see what happens. Our starter's about to die. Try it now. Okay. Try it. Just hold the key over. Try it again. Oh, it's flowing. Yeah, look. It's flowing coolant right now. That is fantastic. Wow. I'm going to let it open up all the way, and then we will actually fill it up, put the cap back on. It's green. I really didn't put a lot of water in it. Oh, don't know what that was. Pump is flowing. Woo! Yeah. Well, we had a little bit of an issue. The car quit, and then it wouldn't crank back. So the ignition switch, I think, is the culprit, obviously, because it kind of cranks intermittently. And the relay under the hood, it was a little loose, so we sanded it and ground it and basically bolted it back down solid. The big issue is now the key does not do anything. So I've got a new switch here. I'm going to try and plug in. The big problem is that somebody has cut the power wire and bypassed it. So I guess that doesn't matter. So maybe, well, no, it does matter, doesn't it? Because I kind of need it. Now, why would they do that? The ignition switch is fixed. Bad news is the starter just clicks now. So I've got a persuasion handle here. You just tell me when you're ready, Briar. Oh, there it is. Try and crank it now. Did you pump the pedal a little bit? Try it again. Yeah. It's trying to hold the throttle open a little bit. Now try it. Nothing at all? How about now? Oh, it's hot. Now try it. Clear it out a little bit. It's flooded. Might clean the plugs off too. Batteries, or the starter is smoking. I can see it underneath. No, it won't do it. Oh. gently to the floor right now and it's running like that. I had it to the floor that whole time. She's flooded bad. Maybe if I backed off the timing a little bit. That's what it sounds like. It's kicking. The timing's a little too high. But it was just running perfect right before it didn't. Battery cables are getting hot. Let me turn the timing down just a smidgen. Yeah, there we go. I think I turned the timing up too high and it got bad. And now it won't crank it. Oh wait, that's because I didn't have the key in anymore. Man, I might have turned it up too high again. Now it seems happy. I just had it way too advanced and everything just kind of fell apart all at one time. Still seems a little lazy, but it's all over the place, kind of. Wonder if it'll just spin the tires right here. That was terrible. Well, it's running, it's just smoking like crazy, ain't it? I think that's all carburetor right there, personally, because like I said, I've had this carburetor on like 20 different cars, and it's really probably just in need of a serious rebuild. But it's out here, it's running now. I mean, that was, after a couple attempts, it finally gained its bearings. I just wanted to see if the radiator was leaking any before we went too crazy. I don't see anything. No water. I don't see any liquid around the freeze plugs or nothing either. That's good. Now we just don't need to shut it off ever again. We checked transmission fluid. It was full. Still smoked like a freight train. That's okay. That's what you did back in 1971, right? That's what you do, right?
I roll coal every day.
In your gas burner Chevy?
Yes.
I love how plastic the steering wheel sounds.
Oh, it is 50-something years old. Well, not, yeah, 53.
It is old. I guess I'll creak when I'm 53 too.
Oh, you're already doing that.
Yeah, it's too late for me. Transmission's noisy.
Yeah, it's got a little whine.
Those cars. I've had them be noisy before, but that's a little concerning. Brakes are good. We're ready.
Two.
Come on, come on, come on.
Yeah!
Running a little rough, but she's got 3 gears. Ooh, it smells very gassy. Yeah, we need a good set of plugs, which we did put plugs in it. They're
brand new ones.
Probably fouled again. We need a good set of plugs again. A really good carburetor that actually is of merit. We have 3 gears, ladies and gentlemen. It runs pretty good if you just keep your foot off the gas.
Oh yeah.
Actually pretty smooth now.
And honestly, handle's pretty decent.
Not loose.
No, not bad. I mean, yes, the steering wheel's loose, but it's a manual steering car. It's not bad. Oh, do that. Not doing that. No. She's a little bit down on her luck. I think this carburetor mixed with timing, and we probably have the gap set improperly. Probably too wide, I bet. Might not be a bad idea to check it when we get going. Yeah, it does not like any extra fuel. But it's driving. Hey, the speedometer's showing 50, which it's got a big tall tire in the back, so it's probably nowhere near accurate. It went down to second. Yeah, I think it's just got a bad spark right now. Incomplete burn. I wanted to show Dad because he was excited about it. This is a cool, look at the view with the hood. The call outs on the hood. 383. Letting everybody know what you got. This is pretty cool. I've never got to drive one of these cars, you know? I've never actually sat in one of these cars. Oh, the brakes are great.
They better be.
Might need to be a little tighter. Oh, he's already standing outside waiting on me, look. We'll park it next to his satellite. Transmission's so easy. I'll trade you. Yours for mine? I'm a little mad. Well, we got here and we went to leave and it didn't crank back. So figured now be a good time as ever to go ahead and just check the points. Big thing we noticed too, it'll sit there and spin. Oh, coil wire come off. It'll spin and spin and it will not crank, and it'll hit and it just and it'll catch real hard. So I'm not sure the points are misaligned, or what the case may be. That gap's not super wide. Well, I was going to show you what I fixed. I dropped it. It was laying right here, and I went to grab it, and it fell down in there into somewhere. Anyway, it was the rotor button. It was bent over sideways, so we replaced it while we were here, and this thing runs so much better now. I could tell it just was something with an incomplete burn, but as soon as we changed that rotor button, like it was bent over sideways like that and barely making contact, it woke up. It come alive after that point. So now, like, the smoke went away, it cleared out. It's no longer feeling like it's like got an incomplete burn. It revs happier now, and it cranked right up. Like before, it wouldn't do anything. So I think that's gonna fix it. When's the last time you had one of these?
4 years born. I had a 72. Very close. 340 4 speed.
There's our future project, ain't it?
Yeah, big change, 70, 71.
Yeah, you could tell it was kind of breaking up, which I think it still is. It's got a little bit of a little mist to it every now and then, but it's idling way better now.
I was gonna do one of the Saul's Loveless car.
We're done for, aren't we?
Oh yeah, fill the road with this car.
Wide turns.
This don't make you smile or nothing, would it?
Still got a little hesitation to it. Oh, that's way better. You couldn't do that before. Oh yeah. You couldn't do that at all before. As soon as you even lay into the gas a little bit, it starts breaking up. That fixed it right there. I just like looking over the hood and seeing the 383 on it. I think that's the coolest part about it.
This car's really, it's really neat from like 69, 70, and 71. They all have kind of different different hoods. I guess this hood kind of favors a 68 or 9 more than it does a 70.
Hear that first gear, it's a little noisy.
Yeah. Hey, it's still there, letting you know it's still there. Though.
Yeah, it is there. The speedometer worked.
It's cool. Man, I ain't drove one of these in a long time. These are good driving cars. Man, some people might argue they drive better than others.
I think I mean, it's got a front sway bar. It handles pretty well. It's just breaking up. I think it's probably we probably fouled a couple plugs with it running so rough. So it probably just needs cleaning again, but it come alive. Oh yeah. That's a whole new car right there.
It's got power. The motor's not wore out.
Still running, and it runs better now. What do you think?
I'm trying to decide 70 or 71.
I don't know. That's a tough choice.
That one runs.
You can really see the red now with that sunlight. I think that looks cool. We leaking something? What is that? Uh-oh, a little transmission fluid. We're leaking some transmission fluid out of somewhere. And Dad just floored it. He didn't care. I think we have maybe a plug or two that from
it's dumping fluid.
Uh-oh. Hey, he gave it the beans. He gave it for what it was worth. I think the fact that, this car was running with an incomplete burn like that for so long has probably done fouled up a plug. So now the fact that it's running again, it's like, I don't want to have to run right, Yeah.
Pretty quick.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't know I was in second, so it short shifted first. That's not for sitting for 35 years, Briar, and making it run and drive and stop. This car has totally come alive. That there's nothing like that. I don't care what you say. There is nothing like that whatsoever. Now I'm in low. No, I'm not. Still breaking up a little bit. Where's drive?
There it is.
According to my speedometer right now, I'm doing 55 miles an hour. And we're just cruising. This car is just smooth as can be. I could really, honestly, this would be a good power tour rig. I hate to say, I said it there. I said it. Here's our plan B. The Charger doesn't make it. Here's our plan B. But that's not the end of it. I mean, I plan on doing a lot of stuff to it. I want to clean up the interior, fix some of the rust, repaint a few spots, clean up the paint. I really want to detail the engine bay. I would really like to make that nice before we really go and do a whole lot to it, because if there was ever a car to deserve it, this is the one right here. I want to try it. Just a little baby one. If I can get it down in low. Oh, and it died. Did you feel the whole front end pop? Oh no, it's not going to crank. Thank you.
Hooray!
This thing smokes like a freight train because it's still running rough. All the exhaust leaking out of that manifold just comes right out from underneath the car. Wow. Hey, it wanted to though.
It did.
It was wanting to lay patch, that's for sure. Well, we noticed a little bit of coolant on the ground, so it's a little bit wet where they tried to weld up the tank there, but it's a super slow leak. You can see it up under here. That's how much it's leaked since we left, or we parked it here, probably sitting for what, Briar, 5 minutes maybe? So it probably needs to be fixed or replaced, but also the transmission is leaking too pretty quickly. So We're gonna have to keep an eye on that, but it's definitely gonna probably need the front seal. I would bet money that's where it's leaking from. Let's see. Oh wow, that's quite a lot. Yeah, definitely that front seal on the transmission's gone. Pretty common, just have to pull the transmission to do it. That's the only problem. But other than that, the car runs fantastic. I am so impressed at how good this thing runs, drives, stops. For sitting for as long as it has, you can't beat this thing. And it looks so good. Look at those wheels and tires. Like, a little bit of work and this car could be ready. Like, done ready. So that's what we're gonna do. But we have to drive it some more. What do you think? Radio. Oh, hold on.
Oh, come on.
We know it works, but I guess it's... Oh.
Yes!
And I love this body style Roadrunner. I know some people really like the 68 through 70 better, and who don't even like the 71 and 72s. And I get it, but it's just a really cool car. And it's light. It's just nimble to me, in my opinion. It just feels a whole lot more agile compared to the earlier predecessors. You know, now I'm not a fan of 73 to 74 personally, but everything else, yeah, I'm in. Man, could you imagine having this thing brand new, 71 Roadrunner with a 383, just going? I mean, this car right here, dude, you were somebody. You know what I mean? Like, even though it's a base model, it's a base option, really. A Roadrunner is still a Roadrunner, no matter which way you look at it. And it's so cool. To be honest with you, this is probably one of my favorite cars that we messed with in a long time. I know that I say I really like a lot of the vehicles we mess with, of course, but a 71 Roadrunner, there's just nothing like it, you know what I mean? Like, nothing. Gosh, it stops smooth. Yes. Oh yeah. Like a new car. I mean, I can just picture having this car when it's dialed, you know, brand new. You know this car was fun. And being a budget friendly, I mean, that's what it was all about, being a budget hot rod. And this car is that, really. I can't get it down into first. I don't know why. Not sure, but the whole car just, oh, we're smoking. There's a cloud behind me. That cleared her out though. You're a little old downshift. It smokes like crazy.
It just shifts in a second.
It's just everything about it needs really just perfecting, and that's what I want to take the time to do, is perfect all of it. I just love this. Driving a Roadrunner, man, you just feel cool in it. And that's the cool thing about this car, is that this is not too far off from being super nice. I mean, yes, it's got some rust, the interior needs some cleaning up and fixing, but overall, this would not take a lot to really make perfect, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's totally doable with this car. Ooh, something's burning. I can check that out. That first gear is hilarious. Oh, we're getting low on fluid. Yep. Yeah, we're getting low on fluid. Slipped a little bit going from second to third. top her off. Briar's turn.
Hello?
She's a little loaded up right now. Plugs are fouled. Give her some RPM, she'll be all right. When in doubt, floor it, right? Yeah. Look behind you. All the smoke in the world.
Brakes are very nice.
Yes, they do work very well. It handles pretty good, doesn't it?
It does.
It's smooth.
Oh, that's not one.
Yeah, we're smoking up in here now. Golly. Wow. Man. Well, there you have it, folks. The video's done with this 1971 Roadrunner, but we're not done with the car. We've got a lot of stuff in store for this thing, including doing some metal work, interior work, making that transmission better, and all the engine work we got to do to this thing to make it a usable and drivable car. So please subscribe if you want to see more of this stuff. And if you want to go down to the link below, you can buy a sticker, buy a t-shirt, because all the money goes directly back into stuff just like this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.